boys and girls, this is Pastor Steve, and I'm so glad you're here with us for today's Big Idea video. I've got some cool things to share with you, and I hope you're ready to learn a lot today. It's going to be great. I want to teach you a cool lesson today using a couple of inventions. Now, the first one is an invention that some of you have probably played with. It's Silly Putty. How many of you out there have ever used Silly Putty before? Yeah? Okay, good. How about you? Oh, you too? Oh, yeah, there's lots of people. Silly Putty is something that's really, really fun. It comes in this little plastic egg, crack, and look, it's just a little blob like this, and you can squeeze it, and you can bend it, and you can shape it into different things. Like, look, here's my nose. That's kind of an extra long nose. You could make it other shapes, like you can put it on your ear. Here's an ear. It's an extra big ear. Or you can use it to do other cool things, like check this out. You can actually use it to pick up writing and drawing off of paper. So watch this. You flatten it out a little bit, and then you come down here, and look, I've got a little message on this paper right here. And watch this. Whenever I put this down, the Silly Putty, onto the paper and press it down really good, and then peel it back up, and it has transferred the image from the paper onto the Silly Putty. And what does it say? It says, "Yay, God!" Well, there's a reason why we ought to praise God, right? Because He is very, very good to us. Well, you know, Silly Putty was an invention that came out of World War II. There were many, many engineers that were trying to help develop a new kind of substitute that they could use instead of rubber. And this silicone goo, Silly Putty, was what one of the engineers and chemists at a certain company came up with. But you know what? The silicone goo didn't work for them. They wanted to use it for the soles of boots. They wanted to use it for tires on Jeeps in World War II. They wanted to use it for all sorts of different things. But you can't use something all gooey and squishy for boots, right? Because they'll just fall apart. So they had to scrap the idea. And Silly Putty set off to the side for a few years until another man came along and realized, hey, Silly Putty could be really fun. Now, I told you I had another invention here, and look, this is it. These are called, you remember what these are called? These little sticky notes, what are they called? They're called Post-it notes. And you know why they're called Post-it notes? Well, it's because you can just peel it off, and you can stick it anywhere you want. You can write a little message on it, and then you could put it on somewhere so someone can see it. Like, don't forget to buy eggs when you go to the store. These little Post-it notes are so helpful. And you can also use them to have a little fun too. Look, I made a kind of a little face over here. 2 eyes and a big pink nose. Well, you know what? Post-it notes also came from somewhat of a failure. There was a company that was trying to develop a glue that would hold things in place. And that's what glue is supposed to do, after all. And they worked, and they tried. And one of the experiments produced the kind of goo that is on the Post-it note. Well, it wasn't strong enough to hold things like they liked it, so they just kind of set it off to the side, and it was forgotten about. Until a few years later, one of the scientists realized that he needed just a little bit of stickiness to hold his bookmark in place in his hymn book at church. And so what did he do? He got some of this glue that they developed by accident and used it on the bookmarks so they would stay in place. And that was a huge hit, and it wasn't long before this became a big invention that is in use all across the world today. And it's a very, very popular product. You know, kids, both of these inventions, and one more that you're going to learn about with your teacher in just a few minutes, all came from mistakes, or all came from experiments that didn't work out quite right. But yet, something really good came from what was once thought of as a mistake or as a failure. And that is what our big idea is about today. God can bring good out of persecution. And we're going to look and see in the Bible what we mean by that. What are the things that God brings to us that are good as a result of persecution? Well, get those Bibles out and let's get ready, and you'll learn it today.